ไม่ได้ทำกับข้าวด้วยกินข้าวกล่องแล้วไหมล่ะโอเคถ้าหนูจะกินข้าวกล่องกระตังเนี่ยก็อยู่ในตู้แข็งเนี่ยลูกในฟรีเซอร์เนี่ยหยิบไป Good evening นะครับ everyone Thanks for being with me today นะครับ How are you today ครับ everyone Are you good Okay I hope that all of you are good นะครับ Okay so I'm very good here today but I'm a bit hungry นะครับ because it should be the time for my dinner already นะครับ Okay so now let me talk about the topics that we study on the last class นะครับ as a short recap นะครับ Okay กฤตภาส and ณภัทรนะครับ nice to know that you are good นะครับ I hope that the rest of you are good too Okay Okay let's see what we study on the last class on the last class on yesterday we talked about two topics นะครับ it was goal seek นะครับ and two input array นะครับ that you can see that for the goal seek it was นะครับ the feature in Microsoft Excel นะครับ that it doesn't leave the trace on that means if you did it by using or if you find the answer by using the goal seek already you cannot just like later on นะครับ when you open it up you don't have or you don't see any functions that goal seek left for you นะครับ for example in here we in order to go to goal seek นะครับ we just like have to make sure that นะครับ normally goal seek just work with นะครับ any calculation that is that is just like the calculation นะครับ with นะครับ a cell นะครับ that you allow it to be changed นะครับ so the way that goal seek will do is that you will just like try to calculate นะครับ by having นะครับ changes นะครับ they try on the changes of the cell that it is in the it is the calculation here นะครับ for example in here we know that okay the multiplication result come from cell B5 นะครับ times with the cell C5 so the things that you have to do is that you just like change นะครับ you just change the multiplication result cell นะครับ to be whatever value that you want นะครับ you fix one value in the calculation and you just like allow one cell to be changed นะครับ in this one assume that we allow operand 2 to be changed นะครับ while the formula นะครับ is still or the calculation is still B5 times C5 if you say that you allow multiplication result to change to be any value for example suppose you say that okay firstly you have 3 times 4 equals to 12 นะครับ but in here you say that okay you want the result to be 25 นะครับ while operand number 1 is 4 what should be the value of operand 2 the way that we do นะครับ is that we go to data นะครับ what if analysis and then go seek then you set the multiplication result นะครับ in here in the cell D4 D5 in here to be value 25 นะครับ to be value 25 you allow the cell that is changed นะครับ is yellow cell here นะครับ is the value that you want to know นะครับ what should it be ครับ you allow the cell C5 to be changed after that นะครับ you just click OK นะครับ Go Seek will try to just like search for the information for you. It shows you that okay, the target value that you want to get is 25. Now, Go Seek try to just like calculate for you, and it gets 25 as well. So in order to get 25 as the result in this cell,นะครับ you fix 10 นะครับ as operand 1 here. Then Go Seek search for you that okay, the operand 2 you should have 2.5 instead. In here. So in this one, you can see that okay, you can cancel, or you can just like click OK to just accept that new value as well. Okay. Here and then you click OK. Or in this one, the second example, I show you that okay, we find the profit of a t-shirt. When we know that okay, for one t-shirt, the profit of one t-shirt is $2.25. If you say that okay, this time you want to get like $1 million as a profit, how many t-shirts do we have to produce? In this one, we change the profit to be $1 million. You allow number of t-shirts to be changed. You click OK. You can see that you have to produce 444,444.44, or you may round it up a bit to get like the profit more than 1 million a bit. That is 445 items or T's, so that you can get like the profit for your production of the t-shirts for more than $1 million. And for the last example that I asked you to do was that okay, assume that we have sales amount for $100,000, and we have the assumption that cost of goods sold equals to 20% of sales amount. Advertising cost is 15% of gross profit. Then we would like to find the advertising costs. In here you can see that firstly, you set up the formula, the calculation for sale amount 100,000. Cost of goods sold is 20% times sales amount. While advertising cost here, you don't know yet, but you know that is 15% of the profit. While the profit come from sales amount subtracted by cost of goods sold subtracted by advertising cost in here. So the reason why we don't do like 15% of gross profit is because it will cause the circular reference that makes the calculation to be wrong. Right now you can see that gross profit come from sales amount subtracted by COGS subtracted by advertising cost, but advertising cost is not correct because advertising cost here is not 15% of gross profit. So that's why in this one we solve the problem by using Go Seek instead. I just like in my one I said that advertising cost, I want to know that whether it's 15% or how many percent of the gross profit. I just divide the gross profit by the advertising cost here and just like see. In this one, if I do it manually, I might just like enter some values and see the percentage of the advertising costs on the sale. In my one is E22. If it is 15%, then I'll stop. Or instead of having manually trial and error, I just use Go Seek to help, because I know that the advertising cost divided by gross profit must be 15%. Then if I want the goal is that I want advertising cost to be 15%, I allow advertising cost to be changed to be any value. Which value should it be? Then I go to Go Seek, I set cell E22 นะครับ that is my percentage of advertising cost นะครับ to be 15%. By changing cell นะครับ the yellow cell here นะครับ advertising cost amount can be any numbers and then I click OK. Then you can see that GoSee is trying to find the value for me. You can see that in here นะครับ for my computer the best value that that GoSee can find advertising cost for me is 14.96%. You may have to use like manual fine tune to make it become 15% นะครับ by yourself. But this one it's just like quicker than you guess the number manually. It tries best to find out the advertising cost for you. Some of the machine, some of your computers can be used to find out up to 15.0 or 15.01%. Depends on the setting of the computer. It doesn't mean your computer is not good, but it's just like depend on the configuration of your Excel with the computer setting. After that we talk about the two input array table. Two input array table is a table that help us to be filled up like this for the data that come from the calculation like this. When you have the calculation like this and you have to fill up a table with the variation of the variables that you have got, you can use the two table array. For example, in here you can see that we would like to find out the sales projection. And you know that the sales projection come from two different variables. One is from growth, the other one is from expense. The way that you have to do is that you have to set up your formula like this first. So firstly, you know that the projected sales come from the sales amount and growth and expense, while the variation is growth and expense in the table. So you set up the formula first. For example, in this company, they say that their projected sale come from sales amount plus the growth minus expense. So I set the formula like this. So this one you can see that the green cell in here on my cell D10 tell us for the project sale of 2022 when the growth is 6% and expense is 25%. In here I get just like one value only, that is for growth 6% and expense is 25%. It is in this cell for this cell only. How can I fill up the rest of the cell? The things that I have to do is that firstly I have to type the table like this. I have to type the table with the variations between growth and expense. It depends on you. If you want the expense to be as the column while the growth as a row like this, span in the same row like this, it's okay. But you have to choose the correct parameter in your two input array properly. In this one, I just like want to put the spanning of the variation of these variables like this. I have the spanning of or the variation of growth from 1% to 6%. Expense, I want the variation of expense from 10% to 40%. And then I just type them like this. After that, the important thing we have couple of three important things. The first one is that the top left corner of the table, you have you must not enter other numbers or other values. You have to spare it to refer to a formula and that formula has to be related to variation. So in this case it is expense and growth. So you can see that the formula is here in cell D10. So the way that we have to do is that we use the relative reference. We type equal sign นะครับ D10. This is the thing that you have to do นะครับ in order to have input array set up. When you get this นะครับ you get 708750 นะครับ after that you highlight the table นะครับ to cover all the variation of these variables นะครับ okay. When you do it already นะครับ you go to click on data tab, what if analysis, and then data table. Now the next important things for data table is that you have to provide the row input cell and column input cell properly. Row input cell means that the value นะครับ that span in the same row. This is what we call row input. While the value that spans in the same column, we call it as column input. Where are they นะครับ Where are row input cell and column input cell? The row input cell and column input cell for your data table in this pop-up window, it needs to know that which cell นะครับ that is the original cell for the row input นะครับ in your formula. In this one, you can see that for row input, it is the expense. Then you have to find that where is the expense นะครับ where is the expense นะครับ so expense is located in the cell D8 นะครับ then the row input cell is the cell D8. You just click here นะครับ while column input cell นะครับ is the input cell about the growth, then the growth is located in cell D7 นะครับ, then you just click there. After that you click OK, then the two input array will generate the growth, will generate the project cells for you นะครับ in here. So when you get the cells or the values generated already, the next thing that you have to do is to check นะครับ whether it's correct or not. For example, you may just like enter some numbers นะครับ for the growth. For example, if it is 3% growth, 25% expense นะครับ, and then you check the value in the table, in the generated table, 3% growth, 25% expense, it's here นะครับ, and then you just like see the number นะครับ in here นะครับ the generated number is 682,500 นะครับ the projected sales that is calculated is 682,500 as well นะครับ, so this is correct นะครับ just try another number. If the growth is 2% นะครับ and the expense is 40% นะครับ 2% over 40% นะครับ in here you can see that the generated numbers is 542,500 นะครับ, and the calculated number is 542,500. This is correct. So that means when you have the numbers in the generated table, that is the same as project sales that you calculated in this formula already. That means your table is generated correctly นะครับ There are some possible thing นะครับ that might happen, and it tells us that your generated table is wrong นะครับ Let's see the first one first. First one นะครับ Okay, let me just clear out the table first นะครับ For clearing the table นะครับ you cannot go to the cell and press delete นะครับ It doesn't work because this table has been generated for the whole table. When it comes together, if you have to delete them, you have to delete them together. In order to delete นะครับ or clear out the data, you have to choose นะครับ or highlight every generated cells นะครับ These are generated cells, right? So you right click and choose clear content. Now it's gone. Or you highlight all of them and then press delete button on your keyboard. It's gone too นะครับ But if you just like delete just one cell or some cells in the area that you highlight นะครับ you cannot change a part of the data table นะครับ You have to clear out all of them นะครับ like this. Okay, so when you clear out already, now let me just like try to do something นะครับ that may cause the error. So in this case instead of referring to be equals to D10 like this, somebody type นะครับ 542 500 you can see that they look similar นะครับ they look similar between they look similar between these two cells but this table is wrong นะครับ let's see when you highlight the whole table here and generate the table once again นะครับ and generate the table once again going to data what if analysis and then data table now row input cell its expense is here นะครับ D8 column input cell is growth it's D7 when you click OK see what happened นะครับ all the numbers are the same 542 500 it's wrong it's impossible that if you have different expense and different growth you have the same value like this one means that you do something wrong in this one if you have the same numbers the suspect is that on the top left corner you type a number directly instead of referring to a formula นะครับ another thing that may happen is that you may refer to another cell for example if I have like the cell E10 that I just recently created and top left corner I refer to this cell E10 is referring as well but the data generated table is wrong too because the newly created cell here is not the formula it is just like my typing 542 500 that's why even I am referring to this cell all of my data that is generated into the table show this number because it cannot change the variation of growth and expense for you as this one is not the formula that's why it goes wrong now let's see the next thing that may cause your data table to be wrong is this one okay I go back to refer to the cell D10 okay yeah okay so the next error is caused by you choose the row input and column input in the wrong order now let's see in this one if I go to start creating the data table you can see that in here row input cell must be expense but if I choose growth instead and column input cell actually I have to put growth but I put expense instead what will happen it generates a number anyway but when you check then let's check growth 2% expense 40% you can see that in this yellow cell it shows 1.2 million while the correct projected sales for this variation must be 542,500 only so that's why this one you can see that okay if the value of the calculated projected sales is not the same as the generated number this is caused by one reason that I told you you choose wrong row input cell and column input cell okay so this is the point that you have to concern when you have to generate data table so you can see that this is example of the data table that you may use somebody may use this kind of calculation you can see that when we have this different thing in terms of rows and column somebody just like apply this one in terms of like the table of what to say financial functions for example you say that okay on the left hand side in the column it is the interest that is different when the bank just offer you in different rates while the row input that might be like number of period or n per that can be varied when you would like to for example if you would like to have just like installment for a car something like that you may want to have the table that the bank give you different rates against number of period that you pay This can be just like used by generated by using the two input array table as well. When you have the table in terms of the financial functions like that oneนะครับ we call that one as amortization table นะครับ amortization table นะครับ I will just like give you the example in our e-learning นะครับ for amortization table so that you can see how we're going to calculate them. Okay, so right now up to this point, do you have any questions for the two input array table ครับ that we created? Okay, so if you don't have any question about this นะครับ try to do it by yourself นะครับ try to just like later on, not now นะครับ I mean like when you have time, just try to delete this generated table first นะครับ and then you just like think about like how do we gonna have this formula, how do you gonna generate นะครับ the two input array table from the formula that we have got นะครับ try to do it again and then you just like see whether it's correct or not by checking each value นะครับ just randomly checking for some values นะครับ and then you just check for the growth for the expense and see whether the value in the green cell is the same as like what you just like randomly pick up or not นะครับ okay, right, so this is the two input array table นะครับ all right, so if you don't have any question about this two input array table, the next topic that I'm going to talk about is called as lookup and references. Lookup references. So I would like to create a new sheet นะครับ so everyone create a new sheet นะครับ name this sheet as lookup references ครับ lookup references. Okay, so for the lookup references นะครับ these are like the way that we look up the data นะครับ from another place นะครับ that we collect or we can that we have the data นะครับ okay, so let me just like list out all the functions นะครับ that we need to learn first. We have to learn about HLOOKUP, VLOOKUP นะครับ and then we have index and match นะครับ these are four functions but three groups นะครับ that we have to learn นะครับ so let's talk about the lookup reference. What does it mean นะครับ let me just like show you my picture นะครับ so that you can see how the lookup reference work. Okay. just won't be long นะครับ Let me just open it up from my line. Just won't be long นะครับ Okay, let's have a look นะครับ in this one assume that นะครับ assume that we have the data นะครับ we have the data for students นะครับ for their examination นะครับ in one table นะครับ in one table ครับ let's see suppose we have table 1 table 2 and table 3 นะครับ these are 3 different tables we say that in table number 1 here we have ID นะครับ midterm score final score and total score นะครับ of the students if I ask you that who gets 72 points okay. At most you can tell me that oh A003 gets it but actually I don't want to know who I don't want to know A003 I want to know the name of the student what should I do for sure I mean in terms of I mean human beings the thing that we do is that we scan around where do we have A003 you can see that we have A003 here and you can see that the name is Pam or somebody say that oh I just have a look on another table table 3 and I see that A003 ID the name is Pam this action is what we call lookup reference it means that we look up นะครับ the information from a place in here is ID นะครับ and then we try to refer นะครับ this number นะครับ A003 นะครับ with other table นะครับ to find out นะครับ the related information the related information here that we want is the name so in hereนะครับ if you just like look up at table number 2 นะครับ by using the same reference A003 you get the name of the student that is Pam or if you go to table number 3 you do the same thing นะครับ you refer to A003 นะครับ as the ID to find out the name and you name and then you can see that in A003 นะครับ it is Pam นะครับ for the name of the student นะครับ this is lookup reference นะครับ as well but what is the difference นะครับ the difference in here is that นะครับ is that if you have a look นะครับ on the table number 2 นะครับ on table number 2 the ID span in the same column the way that the lookup reference will do is that suppose we say that we see A003 right we have to scan นะครับ at the first record นะครับ or as the first line นะครับ we know that okay at the first line ID is A001 it's not A003 then it goes to the next line นะครับ the next row in the same column นะครับ in the same column it's A002 it's not A003 then it goes to the next one it's A003 it's match then it stop and report that is Pam this manner นะครับ if the data that you are searching นะครับ is in the same column นะครับ we search through it vertically then this the function that we have to use is VLOOKUP นะครับ so whenever you decide to use VLOOKUP or not นะครับ and the other one is HLOOKUP you have to see นะครับ the distribution of the data if the index or key that you are searching for is located in the same column you have to search it vertically then you have to use VLOOKUP now let's see the table number 3 you can see that okay the first record นะครับ is here A001 you are searching A003 A001 is not A003 then you move on to the next column it's A002 it's not A003 then you just move on to the next column it's A003 then it's match A003 with A003 then you report that okay the name is Pam this one you can see that the direction นะครับ that you just like search for the data goes to the horizontal way in the same row this one นะครับ if your index data is located in the same row like this you just like search for it horizontally. So in this case, if the data span in this way, you have to use a function that is what we call edge lookup. Wow, the index and match is different. Index and match is that we just like locate the location of the data in the table. For example, I say that I want to know the data that is located in row number 3, column number 2. Then I just count 1, 2, 3. Column number 2 is here. Then I report that it's 34. That is index and match function. It works differently. But I don't want you to be confused. Now, we talk about H lookup and V lookup first. We have to just like consider the nature of the data that you are searching for. If it's spanned vertically, then use V lookup. If it's spanned in the same row, left to right, horizontally, we use H lookup instead. Okay, these are like the function H lookup and V lookup for the common things on the overview that you have to know. So right now, let's see the example and the syntax of this function. Okay, so I will begin with the H lookup first. I will begin with the H lookup first. Assume that I have the exam table result. Exam result table, I'm sorry. Let me just like send you in the chat now. I will send you one column at a time, everyone, so that it will be separated properly in your Excel if you copy and paste. All right, so this is the data that we have got in the exam results. In this example, if you would like to find the physics score of it, if you would like to find the physics score of it, what should we do? In here, let me just explain to you first. When we have the data like this, you can see that in this example, you know that physics score is here, and the name of the student is there. The things that you have to do is that if you want to find a physics score, you have to just like go to check with the name first. Is F equals to Anne or not? If no, is F equals to Kara? If no, we go to the next one, and then we can see F. When you can find the name of the student that is F already, you just go to see his physics score and report that his physics score is 52%. Something like this. You can see that when you have to search for the name of the students and they are located in the same row like this, you are searching horizontally. So when the data span like this, you have to use H lookup to help finding. You have to use H lookup to help finding it. In order to use H lookup, how can you use that one? Let me just talk about the syntax of the H lookup first. For the H lookup, in this one, I click on insert function button and type H lookup นะครับ okay. For the H lookup here นะครับ H lookup is the function that looks for a value in the top row of the table นะครับ or array of values นะครับ and returns the value in the same column from a row you specify. What does it mean? In this one, you can see that when you would like to search for the data นะครับ when you would like to look up for a value, that value must be in the first row นะครับ in this one, in the first row here means name of the student. You will search from the name of the student นะครับ so what does it mean? It look for the value in the top row. That means if you want to find Ed นะครับ when it match with Ed already, what is the next one? It return value in the same column นะครับ any column in here, but I want to get physics score นะครับ then I have to specify in H lookup that I want to see physics score. Then it knows that it has to report 52%. But if you say that I want to know French score of Ed, you have to just like specify in the H lookup function that you want to know French score. So it returns 59% for you นะครับ in this one. So now let's see the arguments that we have got in the H lookup function. H lookup begin with the begin with a lookup value นะครับ lookup value means the value that you want to search. In this one, you want to find H นะครับ physics score. Then H is your lookup value that you have to look up against this table นะครับ okay. Next นะครับ table array. Table array here means the position or the range of this table นะครับ in this one, you may say that okay, this is my table array. My table array may be started from B9 to G13 นะครับ B9 to G13. Okay, this is the table array. Now นะครับ what is index num นะครับ sorry, row index num. Row index num means that what row in this table you want to get the data if you can find the matching value. You can see that in here we want physics score นะครับ we want physics score. So when we want physics score, it means that you have to count in this table นะครับ this is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4 and row 5 นะครับ so you use these relative rows only นะครับ don't just use row 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, we don't use this number นะครับ we have to use the row number นะครับ in this table that is the relative row number that we have got. So in this case we want physics score, then the physics score is in row number 4. Then in this argument row index num is 4 นะครับ okay. Now range lookup. Range lookup is the logical value นะครับ range lookup is the logical value. We have true or false นะครับ when it is true นะครับ we say that it is closest match, while false it is exact match. So let me explain to you what is the difference between exact match and closest match. Exact match means that the lookup value and the result are absolutely the same นะครับ for example Ed versus Ed, this is exact match. If you want the result นะครับ to be searched for นะครับ for the exact match only, you have to use false as the argument. What does it mean? It means that if you have some other name, for example, Edward. Edward is not equal to Ed. If you specify that you want exact match, it will return that, okay, you cannot find, you do not find that value. That is for exact match. But if you say that, okay, you lenient, Ed and Edward, these names are similar, then either you see Ed or either you see Edward, you report the physics score. In this case, we use closest match instead. So Ed versus Edward can be reported for the value of physics. In here, you have to use argument range lookup to be true. This is closest match. So it depends on our application. How do you going to use it? For example, score of the student. It's not acceptable if you have the score of another person, right? For example, if I have two students, one student is Kritapat, another student is Kritapat. You can see that their names are similar. The difference is just in the name, in the last character. For example, Kritapat versus Kritapat. If you use exact match, these two people are different. It will report that, okay, you don't find this the score for this one. If you just like see just Kritapat score, when you just like search by Kritapat, it shows the error. But if you say that, oh, Kritapat and Kritapat may be similar person, you use closest match. Then even though it's Kritapat score, when you search by using Kritapat, it shows the score of Kritapat instead. This one for the score is not acceptable. Normally you use false. But sometimes we have the range of the score. For example, I say that, okay, from 90 to 100, you get an A. Doesn't matter you get 90, 91, 92, 93, or 99. You get A anyway. So in that one, you can use the closest match. That I'll show in the example next on. Okay, this is the syntax of the HLOOKUP that we have to use. Okay, now let's see. We will start searching for the score, the physics score of it, by using HLOOKUP. So in this one, when I have to use HLOOKUP, I just go to HLOOKUP. Okay. Then I click OK. For HLOOKUP here, I want to look up the value. Let's see, I have, let's say, suppose I say that I have the name of the students. In here, I say that I have Ed. I want to search from the cell C16 so that I can change the name. I have to search for other people later. Otherwise, if I just hard code Ed in my HLOOKUP formula, when I want to change to find another person's score, I have to change in that formula. So it depends on you. But this one, I just show you that I just like move out from hard code in the HLOOKUP to be just like search for the data in the C16 instead. Okay, I start HLOOKUP again. In here, I look up student name in here, C16. You can see that it shows the result, the intermediate value as F in your lookup HLOOKUP box. Table array I highlight this whole table. You can see that it's from B9 colon G13 B9 colon G13. After that, row index num. What row do I want to get? If you remember, I wrote row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and row 5. Physics is in row 4 of this table. I said that, okay, I want row number 4. range lookup Ed is Ed. Ed is not Edward. So the range lookup must be false นะครับ Bear in mind that if it is exact match we always use false นะครับ Okay you can see that the intermediate result is showing 0.52 or 52% นะครับ This is what we want Okay let me do it again นะครับ For H lookup here lookup value is the student name นะครับ because the first row of this table is student name I want to search by student name and then I highlight table array นะครับ to cover all the data here นะครับ it's B9 to G13 row index num นะครับ I just count row 1 row 2 row 3 row 4 and then physics is in row number 4 that's why I just put row index num is row 4 range lookup I want to have just Ed only นะครับ if there are some similar names I don't want it then I have to use exact match or specifying range lookup to be false after that I click OK then I get 52% for it นะครับ now if I change if I say that okay I will try Edward and see what happened you can see that we don't have Edward in here that's why it shows not applicable or not available for the physics score of Edward นะครับ if I try Anna there's no Anna here that's why physics score of Anna is nothing it's not available นะครับ but if I have Anne you can see that Anne gets 75% right so you can see that in here นะครับ you can just like look up นะครับ the first row นะครับ by the value that you want to นะครับ something like this okay okay any questions about this example ครับ anyone let me copy this formula for you นะครับ okay if you don't have any question for this example นะครับ I want you to try by yourself okay so everyone ครับ please do it by yourself okay I give you 3 minutes to do นะครับ find the biology score for Frank when you get the answer already นะครับ when you get the answer already นะครับ just copy your formula นะครับ into the chat box so that I know that you did it already ครับ for Puttita นะครับ you asked me to do it again so when I want to find its score นะครับ I just have to just like check first that the first row of the table นะครับ contains the name of the student นะครับ and after that I know that my the physics score is located in row number 4 of this table นะครับ I want to find the score of Ed only that means I don't want to find any score of like a person whose name is similar to Ed, like Edward or Eddie something like that no I want just Ed only so I need to use exact match so in this one the way that I do นะครับ is thatสุภกรครับ please enter your formula ครับ not the result for the result I know that Frank biology score is 45% okay continue นะครับ for finding the physics score I go to use the HLOOKUP function นะครับ After that, lookup value is the name of the student. At table array, I highlight the whole table here นะครับ row number physics score in this table it is in row number 4 and then range lookup นะครับ as I want the exact match only นะครับ I don't want other people score just it only then I type range lookup that is false นะครับ okay and then I get physics score. Putita, do you get it for this? Okay, so if it's clear already, do the next one for me. Have find biology score for Frank. Okay. All right, so I give you 1 more minute before I move on to tell you how they're gonna do so. Right now, many of you just like showing me the function already นะครับ if you get the answer นะครับ copy the function and paste it to me. Okay, so for Frank biology score นะครับ we do similar way around. Firstly, you have to scan your table first, whether the name of the student is in the first row or not. If it's yes นะครับ you can continue doing it. Now just check biology score นะครับ in this table biology score is in row number 5. It's in row number 5. Okay, right. Okay, now we will do the HLOOKUP by searching Frank นะครับ that is in cell C20 and find his biology score นะครับ so you can see that when the name of the student span in the same row we have to use HLOOKUP in here. You look up value Frank that is in cell C20 นะครับ table array นะครับ I highlight the whole table. Row index biology is in row 5 นะครับ and range lookup นะครับ is for Frank only so it is false นะครับ so you can see that when I just like do this already นะครับ the intermediate result is showing as 0.45 or 45% นะครับ in here this is Frank biology score ครับ okay all right are there any questions about this example ครับ to find the Frank score okay if you don't have any questions นะครับ let me just like talk about some techniques some tips of this function a bit นะครับ it will be useful for you นะครับ in the future firstly assume that I have another row นะครับ that is ID of the student how can we find out the score of a student using HLOOKUP when the first row is not the name? You can see that in HLOOKUP it said that it will look up the first row นะครับ with the value that you want to search for but right now your table consists of the ID นะครับ as the first row what should we do? It's so easy ครับ this trick นะครับ for this trick when the first row in your table is not the lookup value you don't have to choose that one as your table ครับ you choose just the next row instead so right now even though the table has the ID as a first row but when you choose the name นะครับ the row with the name นะครับ that is in this case that is B10 to G14 instead you don't choose row 9 as your part of your row นะครับ part of your table okay you got it so that means right now even though I add a row with ID but I can still get physics score of Ed and biology score of Frank without any problem นะครับ that means you just choose the table นะครับ for this table only you don't need to choose any row that is not a part of this searching นะครับ apart from that one you can see that when we choose the table I choose from name to 45% like this right you can see that the first column is not related to our data at all it's just the heading only so in here นะครับ instead of choosing column B you don't need to choose either column B as well นะครับ so that means you can make your table to be smaller more concise in here you can see that instead of choosing B10 to G14 นะครับ my table can be starting from C10 to G14 both of them works นะครับ without any problems because anyway when you just search for the first column the word name here it doesn't match with any name of the student for sure so when you know that if you think that is useless you don't have to include column B in your table นะครับ in here okay that is a trick that you have to know apart from that one นะครับ let me add some tricks to make your HLOOKUP to be more effective you can see that for our table for our problems here you can find the score of the student that is okay in this one you find score for Ed or for Frank but the problem is that you can choose one subject only the first one is physics score second one is biology score it should be great if you have นะครับ one set นะครับ of cells in order to find the score of anyone for any subject that should be great นะครับ suppose I say that okay let me just like do this one for you I call this one is as like grade report นะครับ the first one I have student name นะครับ second one you specify subject name and then you see show the score here so that means you can enter any student name any subject name to find it as well for example I say that I want to find X physics score okay. What should I do for Ed no problem because we did it already in the first example นะครับ what about the subject like this in this one you can see that for the first example we find physics score นะครับ of Ed that's why row index num is 4 นะครับ if you remember I wrote here and I said that this is row hang on row 1 row 2 row 3 row 4 and row 5 นะครับ physics is in row 4 for Frank นะครับ biology score is in row 5 นะครับ row 5 what should we do in this one นะครับ I will say that it should be good if I have a cell นะครับ to specify what row number and then I refer this cell นะครับ to my H lookup นะครับ for example นะครับ for example I say that okay I use H lookup once again I do H lookup นะครับ to look up student name นะครับ in the table array นะครับ that we have here นะครับ C10 to G14 row index num I refer to a cell D26 นะครับ and range lookup is false นะครับ this is what I have in here I send to you in the chat box first in here นะครับ so for this formula นะครับ okay suppose I say that it's physics นะครับ suppose I say that it's physics is in row number 4 I put 4 sorry I put 4 for physics I get 52% นะครับ if I want to get the H biology score biology is in row 5 I put 5 here he get 61% yeah that's correct so in this one it makes you just like choose the course นะครับ and the name of the student easily to show them the score นะครับ what should we do นะครับ in here when you know that physics is in row 4 biology is in row 5 math is in row 2 French is in row 3 and so on like this we use the knowledge that we learned before นะครับ that is if function นะครับ it will help นะครับ so let me just like show you how we're gonna use if to help in here นะครับ the if in here I have to use nested if to help นะครับ I say that okay equals to if นะครับ subject name equals to math นะครับ then I'll copy the function for you นะครับ in the chat box if C26 equals to math นะครับ the subject number here is number 2 that is row number 2 otherwise if นะครับ C26 equals to French นะครับ comma นะครับ row is number 3 otherwise if นะครับ C26 equals to physics ครับ I will display number 4 and lastly if ครับ C26 equals to biology I'll show number 5 instead and then I close the parenthesis okay ครับ this is my formula นะครับ okay let me test first before I just give it to you ครับ just have a look in this one if I say that I want to see math score of it นะครับ math score of it math I type math let's see if it's correct นะครับ subject the number here must show number 2 yeah that's correct if I want biology it should show number 5 yeah that's correct already นะครับ so okay, this one is correct already so I just use cell นะครับ I just use cell D26 to represent the row number นะครับ this is my formula ครับ everyone so right now this one can be the grade report because I can enter any student name any subject name นะครับ so that it can show the score of that student on that subject correctly นะครับ okay just like copy this one and use it as just like the trick for you in the future if you have to just like
use some functions นะครับ that requires the numbers like this นะครับ in order to just like see the data in different manners you can use if function to help like this นะครับ okay นะครับ this is just like the tricks นะครับ nice to know but I mean like is it compulsory to know in the exam no ครับ no need in this one I just like add it for you it can be just like the gimmick in the future that you can use this kind of thing นะครับ all right Alisa ครับ I sent you the function in the chat box already นะครับ it's the same one as here นะครับ please see in the chat box นะครับ message above right all right นะครับ so the next thing นะครับ that you have to know is that sometimes when we have to look up the data นะครับ the data can be just like not the exact match นะครับ in what situation that you have to use closest match นะครับ in what situation that you have to use closest match for the closest match in here นะครับ let me just give you the example นะครับ in here let's talk about the example here นะครับ if you say that okay let me just go back to ed physics score example here นะครับ suppose you say that in here you change นะครับ the h lookup a bit you say that instead of using range lookup นะครับ from false to be true นะครับ what will happen from false to be true here means that you try to change from exact match to be closest match นะครับ to be closest match นะครับ in here let's see because you have it that's why it shows 52% right it shows 52% but actually if you have some values for example you have Edward instead of Ed what will happen let's see นะครับ if you have Edward it shows 52% as well นะครับ this one in terms of score is not acceptable it must be that person นะครับ suppose you have Jeremiah นะครับ as your student what will happen you can see that for Jeremiah it shows 69 that is absolutely wrong because it's not acceptable too because you don't have anyone whose name is quite close to Jeremiah it is not okay if you show Jeremiah's score with 69% like this นะครับ but in some situation นะครับ closest match is needed นะครับ but not with the score of the student นะครับ so let me just change back from true back to be false or the exact match นะครับ in here so we have it only yeah it's 52% now let's see นะครับ in which situation that we need to have the edge lookup with the closest match นะครับ in here นะครับ let me just give you the example edge lookup closest match or sometimes นะครับ in some textbook it is called as nearby match นะครับ same thing so in this one นะครับ let me give you the table of BMI นะครับ and then I'll explain to you next on นะครับ right this is the table นะครับ everyone just copy and paste on your worksheet first we will use this table นะครับ for the edge lookup so for BMI นะครับ BMI stand for body mass index นะครับ I'm sure that most of you have heard this word or this term before for body mass index. Body mass index is the way that we use in order to calculate นะครับ a value นะครับ that is what we call BMI value นะครับ to tell us the state of your body นะครับ are you underweight normal weight overweight or obese how do you know นะครับ you have to just like calculate some values from your weight and your height นะครับ and then you compare with the range of the body type in here and then it will just like tell you for the type the body type that you have got นะครับ for the BMI นะครับ BMI or body mass index can be calculated นะครับ can be calculated for from your weight นะครับ divided by your height square นะครับ but weight must be in kilograms and height must be in meters unit นะครับ not centimeters it must be in meters unit นะครับ okay so in here if we say that okay the formula is like this you need to know weight of that person and height in meters ครับ and then you calculate BMI นะครับ okay so in here if I have a student นะครับ whose weight is 45 kilograms and the height is 1.55 meters นะครับ or 155 centimeters ครับ how can we calculate the BMI the BMI นะครับ equals to weight multiplied by นะครับ height square sorry weight divide by not multiply by divide by open parenthesis นะครับ height times height ครับ this is the BMI formula ครับ okay I copy the formula to you ครับ okay this is the BMI calculation okay so let's see นะครับ how do you gonna do in this one นะครับ you can see that for BMI if we look up in this table 18.7 นะครับ okay for the first one 0 and 18.7 sorry 0 to 18.4 no this person is not in this range 18.5 to 24.9 yes the BMI of this person is in this range then you this person's BMI sorry this person's body type is normal weight นะครับ in here okay now okay let's see yours นะครับ for your BMI นะครับ on your BMI calculation what is the type นะครับ of your body นะครับ this one you can see that we look up by using the manual lookup นะครับ but now I'm going to use Excel นะครับ the HLOOKUP function to help นะครับ searching for the body type for you นะครับ to search for the body type for you how can we do that นะครับ I just have another cell set body type and then I'll calculate the body type of this person นะครับ you can see that if we use 18.73 to look up นะครับ you can see that 18.73 is the BMI. You cannot look up at the first row for sure because type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4 is not the number. At most, นะครับ the table that you use to look up is here. Sorry. And use to look up is here. Okay. So you make you may make the table to be more concise by just highlight the yellow cells only, because you have to compare the value นะครับ of the BMI with these numbers. Okay, so if you just like use the yellow cells here, what will happen? Suppose you want to compare 18.73. 18.73. You can see that none of the numbers here is 18.73 at all. None of this is 18.73 at all. So you have 0, you have 18.5, you have 25, you have 30. If you use exact match, it shows the error because you don't have 18.73. So in this case, we have to use closest match instead. So in here, you can see that. Okay, let me just like do it first, and then I'll explain to you how this body type comes up. In here, I said that the calculation of the body type using HLOOKUP in here can be done because the first row in my table, in my table is the numbers. That is the BMI value. So I can just use HLOOKUP because the BMI values span in the same row in here. So I go to use HLOOKUP. I go to use HLOOKUP. I look up value BMI here. Okay, that I calculated. After that, in table array, I highlight yellow cells, D31 to G33. Row index num. What row do I want? I want to see body type. So body type is in row number. What row number, everyone? Can you type it in the chat box? What row number, what row index num do I have to use to find the body type?
3.
3. Yes, row 3. Because row 1 is mean, row 2 is max, row 3 is body type. You don't use row 33. 33 is just like the Excel row, but this one is a table row. Row 3. And range lookup. Let's see, I'll put false first. For the exact match, and you can see that formula result doesn't show anything. It's not available because there is no value 18.73 in your table here at all. But if you say that your range lookup is true, you can see that it shows normal weight in the intermediate result, right? It shows normal weight. If you click OK, it shows normal weight. Why does body type show as normal weight? How does HLOOKUP work? Let me explain to you. In here, in here. Let me clear all of this number first. We have the lookup value that is 18.73, with the closest match. The first thing that we do is that the HLOOKUP will do is that it compare 18.73 with the first value in your table in the first row, that is 0. 18.73 vs 0. You can see that 18.73 is greater than 0. Then HLOOKUP will jump to the next cell and check again, because 18.73 is greater than 0. Then it compare 18.73 versus 18.5. You can see that right now 18.73 is more than 18.5. Then HLOOKUP jump again to the next cell. It compares 18.73 versus 25. You can see that 18.73 is less than 25, right? When it's less than 25, HLOOKUP stop and go back to one cell and report the lookup value as normal weight นะครับ this is how HLOOKUP work so it means that นะครับ it means that if you have the value นะครับ you better sort them first so you can see that in here 0 18.5 25 and 30นะครับ they are sorting already นะครับ 0 is less than 18.5 18.5 is less than 25 and 25 is less than 30นะครับ when it does นะครับ it just start from the first cell 0 and if this value is greater than this cell it jumps to the next cell if this value still less than this cell it jumps to another one if this value is less than this cell it stop and go back to the previous cell and report for what you want now let's try ครับ we will try finding นะครับ we will try finding a person who is in obese type and see what happened นะครับ on the HLOOKUP suppose I say that okay I have a person whose weight is in 100 kilograms height is still 1.55 meters okay now let's see you can see that this person BMI score is 41.66 sorry 41.62 right let's see how BMI work นะครับ in this one you can see that the lookup value 41.62 will be checked against 0 41.62 versus 0 it is more than 0 right it just like jump to the next cell 18.5 then HLOOKUP compare 41.62 versus 18.5 you can see that it's still more than 18.5 then we might just jump to another cell นะครับ compare 41.62 with 25 it's still more than 25 anyway then it jumps to the last one 30 41.62 versus 30 41.62 is still greater than 30 but it doesn't have anything after this already the table stop here already then it cannot go beyond column G then BMI sorry HLOOKUP will stop and report obese so that's why this person get the obese body type this is the example of showing you for the HLOOKUP with the nearby match or closest match in here and the working นะครับ step by step when it compares the value and it doesn't meet นะครับ it is not the same as that value why it just like jump to another one but if you have a person whose BMI is นะครับ let's say if that person has BMI as 18.5 sharp what will happen นะครับ okay let me just manually type 18.5 sharp in here นะครับ this person get the normal weight why นะครับ why you can see that in here นะครับ for this person we compare 18.5 นะครับ with the lookup value 18.5 with 0 you can see that it's more than 0 นะครับ then it just like jump to the next cell 18.5 versus 18.5 they are equals นะครับ when they are equal it stop and report normal weight straight away it doesn't jump anymore and jump back นะครับ so that's why in this one it show as normal weight นะครับ in here so you can see that when we use HLOOKUP นะครับ with the value that is closest match we normally use นะครับ when you have to compare any value that is real number นะครับ or continuous value นะครับ because you cannot find or you cannot just list out all the exact numbers in there for example for the BMI like this it's like quite difficult to get person นะครับ with the what to say, to get the person with the integer BMI index. Most of the time we get the BMI with the decimal point, something like that. That's why we just use the closest match to help instead. This is when we use the HLOOKUP with the what to say, we use HLOOKUP with the closest match with the numbers. Now let's see, sometimes we use the HLOOKUP with the closest match to compare the text. How will this one happen? If you remember, when we find the score of it, the physics score of it, the things that we did, that I did was that for the physics score of it here, in the formula, the things I did was that I changed the argument from false to true, if you remember, right? And then I changed the name to be Jeremiah. Now let's see. For Jeremiah, it shows 69. Why this one happened? Let me explain to you first. So firstly, you are using hello class, just won't be long. So in this one, let me just say again, because I guess you may not hear me, because the voice may be lagged before. If you remember, I changed in this example, I'll show you that if we use the HLOOKUP with the closest match to compare the text, what will happen? In this one, assume that we just change the formula to find physics score of it from the exact match to be closest match. I change the range lookup to be true instead, and I change the name to be Jeremiah. So the things that happen is that it shows 69%. The point that I want to show you is that why does it show 69% is here. Now when you type, okay, Jeremiah is quite long, then I just change the name to be Jim. Okay, Jim. It's 69% as well. Now let's see. Firstly, when I use HLOOKUP, it compare the name Jim versus Anne. You can see that Jim is not Anne. Then it jumps to the next one, Jim with Kara. Jim is not the same as Kara. Then it jumps to the next one, Colin. Jim versus Colin. Jim is not the same as Colin, not even the first character, so that's why it jumps to Ed. Ed and Jim, they are different, absolutely different. Then jump to Frank. Jim and Frank, they are absolutely different, and it wants to jump more, but our table finished here. That's why our HLOOKUP stop at this point and report score of Frank to this one instead. So that's why when we have the lookup value, that is the text, we normally do not use closest match for the HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP as well. The way that we use HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP in terms of the closest match, we normally use it whenever hang on. Okay, we use it whenever we have the data in terms of real number, like this table. This is real number, like this. Okay, right. Okay, this is the HLOOKUP that I just want to talk about, and give you the example. Right. Okay, then up to this point, do you have any questions, anyone?
Okay, while you are thinking about your question, if you have, somebody asked me that for this table, what if we don't have max value? Is it still okay for your HLOOKUP? The answer is okay. HLOOKUP doesn't care about your max at all. The things that HLOOKUP needs is that it needs to know your first row, that is min. So in this one, if I have to change my formula a bit, in here, I have HLOOKUP to look up my BMI. In this table, row index name, I want to report body type in row 2. Range lookup is true too. You can see that it still shows the correct answer anyway. Okay. Like this. Because what about the max? Max is for human being to read. Because in here, you know that, okay, if it's 18.7, you say that, oh, minimum here is 18.5. Then where is the 18.7? To make you read the text easily, I just add the max line for you. I just add the max line for you. Okay, right. Okay, any questions about this example? All right, if you don't have any questions, on the next class, when we will meet each other again, we'll meet each other again tomorrow, as the regular class, 4 p.m. regular class. And then, yeah, on the next makeup class, it will be on next Tuesday. It will be on next Tuesday. Okay, then. So if you don't have any questions, I will stop my lecture at this point. I will just try to upload this video as soon as I can. Okay, so I guess it might be on Thursday. I can just upload this video for you. Okay. Okay, then everyone. That's all for today. Thank you for being with me, everyone. So can you please turn on your camera? Even though I don't check for the attendance, but I just want to know who is with me. Okay, Pim Chanok, are you still here? Pim Chanok? I think she's gone. Okay, no problem. That's okay. Okay, then everyone. Just take care and stay safe, and see for what we studied today, just try to practice and try to understand it. If you don't understand in any parts, just feel free to talk to me. I can just I can just explain to you and then just point out for the problems that you have got, and how to solve it. Okay, everyone. You have a nice evening, and we see each other again on tomorrow class, on our regular class. Bye bye for now. Have a good evening. Take care and stay safe. Bye bye.
อาจารย์คะ
Yes, Alisa.
Yes, I have a question because I'm not sure why when I change the number, it doesn't automatically change like yours in your computer. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sure.
Here, it's like this part. I think I already did the correct formula for the score, but when I try to change, for example, when I change math, it doesn't change. It only changed in here.
Yeah, I know. I see the formula already. Because, okay, you click HLOOKUP function, please. Hang on, not this one. Hang on. Press ESC button first. Press escape on your keyboard. Okay, just click, not double click,นะครับ. Click on cell C28. Yeah. And then click on FX button. Yeah, okay, have a look up. Row index num, you fix it as 4. That's why it always shows as the physics score. If you want it to be changed accordingly, you have to change from 4 to be D26. D26 cup, not C26. D26.
Here.
Yeah, okay. And done.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because the referencing is wrong. That's why it doesn't change.
Okay. Thank you ค่ะอาจารย์
You're welcome ครับ Any other question ครับ Alisa?
No, that's all ค่ะ
Okay, have a good evening นะครับ บ๊ายบายครับ
บ๊ายบาย
See you
ค่ะ
tomorrow